So I was coming into school with £30 dinner money, and my friends had got £2 or £3.
And it was either that or rugby, to be fair.
What position?
What do you think? I'll let you guess first.
I was 22, 23 years old, and I was running the jobs. We had contracts with David Lloyd, Fitness First, Nando's, McDonald's, Wagamama, and it was always me fronting the company.
He absolutely nailed me to the wall. Had to fold the company, lost my marbles, and here we are now.
How many hours do you think you do?
A week.
We're back, episode 38. Series 4, episode 38. Yeah. We're here with Reece from Solihull Tile Specialists.
Yep.
And Scott from Bros Carpentry.
Correct.
Oh, you got it right. Deep breath there, mate. Yeah. So basically, first tiler on the show.
I was just going to say that. Can we make a
big thing? You want a big thing?
Yeah, just a bit of accolades.
Superb. And I actually found Reece's company because where I live, obviously, he's part of Solihull, but driving around, you see all the signs outside, and then eventually you think, oh, I'm going to have a little look who that is. I keep seeing them.
The A-board got you, did it?
It did, yeah. So at least you know it works.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that's quite... I've always been big on branding, and someone told me once, I can't remember what it was, like statistically, but if you see something more than like 8 times, it resonates in your brain. So I've always been like,
it just sticks in there.
Yeah, if you've got vans driving around and you've got boards, and you know, if someone sees enough of it, eventually they might go, oh yeah, I'm going to
like pissed off seeing it.
Just
get him round.
Yeah.
I always think if you see it more than once, then obviously somebody's doing a good job somewhere.
That's why I've always branded my vans, because
no one's seen you, Mark.
Yeah, you brand your van, but it's A, being proud of your business, but B, it is that subliminal. If they've seen you around for 5, 6, 7 years, they know you must be out.
I think that guy with his reg bog roll keeps cutting me up.
Toilet.
Or cistern,
toilet, bog roll. Oh, I've got them all.
So we'll start with you, Reece. And basically what we do on the show is we just sort of take you back, you know, school, whatever, obviously not back to, I was 3 years old. I was out one day and I saw these tiles at the Sistine Chapel and I thought, that's what I want to do. But just give us some backstory and then sort of how you came to be now, sort of, you know, anything that happened to you along the way to actually get into what you're doing, and sort of give us a background about your business, the types of people that work for you and the jobs that you do.
Okay. So it's quite simple for me, actually. So my dad was a heating engineer, a plumber, worked for British Gas for 30 odd years.
He would have used our products.
Probably when he went to work. So my dad was on the plumbing side of things. As I said to you earlier, my mum owned pubs growing up. My stepdad was actually a cabinet maker, very like intricate. Then he went on to like fit kitchens, so he was like very like bit of a perfectionist. And he's the person actually that I went to work for when I was like 13, 14, and you know, you go and work, do weekends, and so I went with my stepdad because he actually like, you know, helped bring me up. So I went with him, and that's where I think kind of like the perfectionist side come into me. My dad was great at what he did, but he hated work. He hated going to work. My dad's a huntsman, so he always just wanted to go out fox hunting, you know, doing all that sort of stuff. Work came second to him. Whereas with my stepdad, work was everything. His business was everything. He was a perfectionist. He prided himself on being clean, neat. You know, he'd always wash drives down every day. And I sort of, looking back now, from 13 or 14, I was a part of that, you know, albeit on a Saturday and Sunday, but I was a part of that. So I sort of got to see the respect that customers had for him, and the way that he went about, not just his kitchen fitting, but the way he went about sort of dust sheeting, all this, basically the way he looked after people's homes. So I left school at 16. I didn't sit my GCSEs. I just wanted to work and earn money. When I was working on a weekend, so I was working every weekend for my stepdad, and I was earning £15 a day. You know, I'm 34 now, so you're talking like 20.
Showing your age.
Yeah, showing my age. 20 years ago. But £15
I hate
a day.
that when you're like, shit, I've got to say how many years
I know, I didn't want to go into it, but yeah, so like £15 a day then, you know, I was earning, you know, £30 for a weekend. So I was coming into school with £30 dinner money, and my friends had got £2 or £3, so I could technically, you know,
lunch is on me. It's on the Milky Bar Kid.
I could buy whatever I want at lunch because I'd gone and worked for it on a weekend, and funnily enough, so when you go into your adult life, I think looking back now, I always had my own money to be able to buy what I wanted. So that kind of when we go into like the business side of it, the reason why I've always worked so hard and worked 7 days a week my whole life is because I've always, from a young age, been able to just have access to more money than generally around the people that
it's ingrained, isn't it? At that point, the cleanliness and keeping the house in order that you're working in, and the money, it's the stepping stones. It's the foundations of what then becomes where you've gone now.
So then when we sort of go from into the tiling world, so when I was just about to leave school, the Rover went bump. Yeah. The MG Rover. So I don't know if you remember, but at the time the government did a big documentary on the lack of plumbers and electricians, and everybody sort of went into like done plastering courses, plumbing courses, electric, all that sort of stuff. And I was always a bit of a weirdo perfectionist. You know, when I was at school, I always do artwork. I always wanted it to be the best. So when I left school, my dad sort of said to me, "Why don't you go into tiling?" And I said, "Well, why tiling?" He said, "Well, as a plumber," he said, "we're paying a fortune for the tilers to come and tile our bathrooms." He said, and they're not very good. He said, he said, "Why don't you go into it?" So, like I said, my dad was a huntsman. He'd got 15 or 16 dogs, which resulted in 15 or 16 dog kennels. So my dad said, "There's 16 dog kennels down the bottom of the garden. Why don't you go and tile them? Just have a little practice, see how you get on." And that's literally how it started. So I tiled my dad went and got a load of tiles from Wickes. I tiled his dog kennels.
Well, just said, there you go and have a go.
There you go.
See what you
Take
think.
your time, see what you think. And that was at 17 years old. So I'd left school. I was sort of, just sort of helping my dad out, both my dads a little bit here and there.
How did you learn then at 17? Because I presume YouTube wasn't.
No, it wasn't
a thing then.
I think naturally, sort of with a little bit of guidance from both my parents being in the trade and sort of seeing it and watching a lot, and I think naturally I just sort of picked it up and sort of
Your old man didn't tile then?
No.
So you literally went in blind.
Just went in blind, yeah. Just went in completely blind into it, and I think sort of those 15 dog kennels, so to speak, were
your proving ground.
Were the practice, yeah. My dad would come in and that's not right and that's right, and he went and bought me all the tools, and then because a lot of my family are in the trade, like my uncle's a builder and my stepbrother at the time was a plasterer, so there was a lot of opportunities for work. And bearing in mind, this is like 2008, 2009, 2010, massive recession. There's not a lot of work around. So I sort of went from doing them dog kennels into sort of my uncle would give me a little job here or there, and probably over the course of 2 or 3 years. Don't forget at that age you don't need a lot of money. So over those they were like my college years really. I never had an apprenticeship. I never had anybody to sort of study and watch. I just sort of knew what I wanted it to look like, and just got myself into that point of how I wanted it to look like. And then fast forward that from 16 years later, you're just constantly perfecting it to the point of where you never stop learning, do you really? But that's how I got into.
So you've got no formal qualifications.
I haven't even got a single GCSE to my. I've got.
Is there a college? Is there with plumbing you get MVQs?
I think there was. I think sort of 2 or 3 years into, while I was already deep into it, I think then South Birmingham College and a lot of sort of colleges started doing
tiling courses.
And there was other like air conditioning. There was a lot of more things that you could then go and do. Yeah. But at the time, with tiling, it's not something you need. It's not like gas where you need gas save. You're not going to be on a manslaughter charge. It's just if you're good enough, you're good enough.
Depends how heavy them tiles are.
My tiler, you could cut your hands on some of his work. Shout out to Nath.
It's what these people call Nath.
but so going back to my dad getting me into tiling, there was always a company that my dad had used. That when I said he pays a lot of money for tilers, there was a company that my dad always used to use. And my dad sort of said to me, "Look, do your own thing for 2 or 3 years. When I think you're at the point of where you're ready, I'll give this guy a call and see if you can go and work for him." So I was probably I think I'd just turned 20. So I'd been doing it for like 2.5 years, do jobs for my dad, jobs for my stepdad, little, bits and pieces here and there. And then I remember doing one job, and my dad come out to have a look at it, and I think he sort of said, "I think you're ready now to go and work for," I think the company was called AR Ceramics at the time, over in Marston Green, and they were a big company. There was about 15, 16 lads that worked for him, did a lot of commercial work. So I had a phone conversation with him, and he said, yeah, come and join us. So I think my first job for them was a McDonald's in Coventry. So that was my first job for him, and then I worked for him as a subby for 4 years until I was like early 20s. And then it just sort of went from, you sort of, when you look back, I sort of was like doing my own bits and pieces, but then going onto that platform, and I probably got a lot to thank him for as well in that sense. Tony, the guy who owned the company at the time, he sort of gave me the platform to then go and
do your own thing.
Yeah, and it's really weird is that a lot of my customers now that I've worked for like 13, 14, 15 years are customers that I met through in back then, and they've sort of stayed with me through that time.
Yeah. They get people. I think people get used to how you work, and then they trust.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
your work.
Yeah.
So if you do a good job, if you're clean, you tidy up after yourself, all that sort of stuff, they'll even if you said, "Oh, solid old tiling, it's not my business anymore. I'm going to start this." Yeah, they just tend to follow you. I think. Yeah, it's always the way if you look after people.
Yeah, but that's what sort of happened. So there's a lot of like left and right turns along the way. I've had a business before. I had a business partner.
So what made you go on your own then? What was the?
So I think so. Staying with the company that I went to subcontract for, I was 22, 23 years old. Probably one of the youngest in the company, and I was running the jobs. We had contracts with David Lloyd, Fitness First, Nando's, McDonald's, Wagamama, and it was always me fronting the company. So I'd got 5 lads on the job with me. They were like at age range from like 30 to 50, and I was running it.
Was that hard for you? Because the one thing I noticed when I first came into here within the business was obviously I had a baby face. Yeah. And you're trying to get people to do things that are older than you. Yeah. And a lot of those people can't take being told what to do by somebody that's younger.
I had a lot of instances of that, and I had a lot of instances with clients as well. But I used to thrive on that. I used to thrive
when you turn up and somebody thinks, "Oh,
that's what I was the kid." Yeah. You know, I'd turn up and I had a few times say, like, I don't know why they've sent a boy to do a man's job, but watching their reaction when I'd finished, it was priceless. It was worth more than any amount of money.
Yeah, because you just literally walk away going, I don't need to answer to anything.
Literally, that's what it was. Yeah. But I think I surprised a lot of people because I said, again, it all goes back to background. So my mum owning pubs, so growing up in pubs from the age of like 10, 11, 12, 13, I was around adults. I was treated like an adult
straight away.
Even though I shouldn't have been. I was treated like an adult. I was around adults all the time. My dad was in our industry, so I was always, both my dads, so I was always with them, around adults. I could speak to people, and sort of you got like a 22-year-old lad who looks 16 turning up for a site meeting at a David Lloyd gym for a £500,000 tiling contract, and they're going, well, what the fuck's he doing? And then all of a sudden, because I've always been really passionate about what I do, and I've dedicated my whole life to it, even from a young age, you sort of start talking, you can see him going, well, he don't look like he should know what he's on about, but he does.
Doesn't look young. He doesn't sound young, but he is young.
And it's so nice. It's so nice to look back.
You know, like Hook, where they go, it is you, Peter, it is.
But it's so nice to look back and sort of and see that during those meetings you could see people respecting you, even though they thought, I don't think I should, but
it's winning that respect, isn't it? You know, when you first go in, they're doubting you because you've got the young looking face and this, that, and the other. And then as that job goes on over a 3-month period, they're slowly coming around. Yeah. Oh, Reece, could you do this, and it? And it's gaining that trust. And then at the end, you walk away and you go, there you go.
But within 6 months of these meetings, I'd have the owner of David Lloyd's phone number. I'd have the designer's phone number. I'd have the contracts manager for the whole of the nationwide phone number, because I could speak to people.
Do you still deal with some of these?
I still deal with some of them, yeah. So there's a big company down in Newton.
Are they harder to deal with than, say, individual customers, or is it which is easier from your sort of thought perspective? Is it easier to do those type of jobs, the Wagamamas, the McDonald's, or is it easier to go and do, I don't know, a high-end luxury home? Which is the harder job?
I don't know which one's harder. I think customers can be,
because some people listening to this will be like, oh, tiling, I never thought of that. Oh, I wouldn't mind doing it, but then thinking, well, do I go down? It's a bit like Sparky's. You go down the domestic or the commercial.
Yeah.
You know, so
well, look, over 16 years, I've tried to. Now I'm at a point where I've got Solihull, and we've got a really, really, really good reputation, and a lot of that is through the company and the guys that I have working for us and what we do. But a lot of that is what I've brought along the way. So combine the two, a good work ethic, a good, we're reliable, we're clean, and then you mix that in with what I've built over 15 years. You put that together, and it's really quite powerful. Throwing a little bit of like the celebrity stuff that we've done, and all of a sudden you're creating this like wave of everybody's talking about you, everybody's seeing your boards, your vans, and it's like we're probably pissing people off because we're everywhere. But it's but that's what the aim was to do.
The celebrity stuff, which a lot of people don't realise as well, is if you do a good job, say footballer or I don't know. Z-list celebrity, and they tell somebody else, and then eventually
they try to keep the circle small, don't they? The celebrity thing.
I have this conversation with everybody, and everybody always asks me, one, how did you get into it, and two, why did you get more of it? And it's exactly, you have to do a good job, but with that world, that's not their priority. So somebody in Lapworth or Dorridge that are spending, £1.5 million on a big extension, their main priority is quality of work. And then price probably comes second, but quality of work is first. With that world, it's, can I trust this person with my phone number? Yeah. Can I trust this person with my address? That comes first. Then the work, and then the price last. Because if you're gonna be down the pub having a few beers with your mates, giving out a girl from Love Island that you've tiled her bathroom and you've given her a mobile number out.
Steady out, steady out, you're a married man.
But you have to understand.
What's her name?
It's not first dates now.
Do you know what's really funny though? When I say to the lads, like, right, in a few weeks' time we're doing this person's house. And
you were about to say somebody then, when you?
I knew that. So I'll say to them, right, we're doing this person's house, and then a couple of days later, I'm like, have you been had a haircut? Have you been on the sunbed? And they're all like getting themselves prepped ready for it. Why are you taking that?
Brilliant.
Love that.
So yeah, again, just from like a business point of view, I think it's just understanding the market and the clients, and because not everybody's their requirements are all different, and that's one thing I've always prided myself on, and my business is just being reliable, honest, clean, neat and tidy.
I think clean is a massive thing. Yeah. You go into the first thing I'll do when I go into someone's house, same as you'll just sheet it off. Yeah. I get the the roll and stroll stuff from and as soon as you go in and start completely sheeting off stairs, landing,
you watch the wives go, oh my god, and then they start going to the you don't clean up, instead
of the old back in the day, the old dust sheet that you open up and it fucking flings shit everywhere.
Fills the room.
Just dust everywhere.
I'm old school.
I've still got to.
But yeah, the cleanliness side is straight away. You've made that bond, and they know you're going to be all right.
But not everybody does. I'm a clean person in general. There's a stigma around men that we're not. I'm house proud. I clean. I look after my house. So when I go into customers' houses, I look after their house probably better than I do my own, because one, they're paying you to be there, and two, you want to leave a lasting impression. Nobody will ever say that we don't. That's one thing I can say. No one will ever say that we're not we clean. I've had lads at 8 o'clock on a Friday night and they're vacuuming stairs and dusting down.
You get some tradies, and I'm not saying all of them, but you get some that come around your house, and then you got like the Portaloos outside. There's fag packets everywhere. There's pot noodles just left to the
crushed
side.
cans of Coke and
terrible.
But there's a lot to it. There's like you said, the work has to be to a certain standard. But when people are having you in their house, and commercially is different, like I said to you.
Well, if it's like a Friday as well, and you're packing up and you're leaving your stuff there for Monday, you want to make sure it's all
neat,
tidy, because somebody's got to live in it.
Have they got kids? You don't want to leave standing knives lying around, or there's so many things that you have to think about. And
or Unilight knives.
Oh yeah, every Unilight knives.
Other brands are available.
They're not. Just Unilight. Do you now? Obviously, you said the Solihull area. Are you getting people from, I don't know, like Newcastle contacting you to go and
everywhere?
Yeah,
everywhere.
And do you go and do them, or?
Yeah, so our base really, and my wife has sort of had the fear in her that I'm going to want to move down to Essex. But the last sort of 2 or 3 years, we've been Solihull and Essex. Yeah. And a lot in between. So we've done like Solihull, Hertfordshire, Essex.
Need some of my teeth to move down.
You've got enough how to get around for everyone.
You need some of these.
And every now and again I'll wind my wife up when I'm down there working. I'm like, there's a house down here, and my friends are adamant I'm going to move down there. But we've just built a reputation down there. It's no different to doing a nice job in Bromsgrove, and then all of a sudden you've got a year's worth of work in Bromsgrove. We've done a couple of high-profile jobs down in Essex.
Are there people that you could hire down there to sort of, like, obviously you can split your time and oversee stuff, but have you ever thought about having a
Potentially. I mean, I've got a guy who works for me at the moment. I won't go into too much detail of why, but he's originally from down that way. Yeah. His parents live in Wolverhampton. He's had some personal problems go on down south, so he's relocated back to Wolverhampton. Jumped on with us about 9-10 months ago. And he's sort of, because his kids are still down south, he's sort of like, any work that you've got down south, I want to be there. Do it. Yeah, so that's been quite good for us, and we did a project in Essex a few weeks ago, and he came down. We finished the day early, so we went and spent the weekend with his kids. So that, from that point of view, it's worked. But I'm a bit of a control freak, so like, you know, I can't.
It's your name, isn't it? It's what you've built up.
Yeah, you know, and it's everything. You know, I've put my whole life into tiling.
That's the hardest thing. Yeah. Is when you run a business, is being able to
let go,
step away.
Once you do, and you've got people in place that do, like obviously now, like all the social media stuff, I leave to these guys, and I don't have to really worry about it. But before, I'd be like, they'll probably tell you different. I'm still anal about it. Like,
it's hard.
When it's your baby, you
so the actual tiling side of it, I've got, you know, I won't say everybody that I need, because you can always grow as a business, but I've got a really good, solid base of lads that I trust with my life. You know, they're all good lads. We all get on really well. You know, we'll socialise a little bit. I'll do like work nights out and things like that. So on the fixing side of things, I'm fine. When it comes to like the admin, the office, the social media, I can't let that go. And people say to me, it's like my biggest asked question. My two biggest asked questions from like the general public.
Do you still do the tiling yourself?
I work 7 days a week.
But I think that's the hardest part. Like you be able to sort of quote me on this more so than me. Is being able to get off the tools, because that's the whole reason why you got into it.
But I was just going to say that my two biggest asked questions are, number one, do you think you'll ever be big enough where you can come off it?
Well, not even that. Do you think you could, regardless of your size?
Yeah.
Do you think?
And the answer's no. Yeah. I won't. I've tried it once before years ago, and the answer to that is I love what I do so much that I want to keep doing it.
How long will your knees let you do it?
Well, it's my back. My knees are all right. My back.
Always protect your knees.
I've got a good back specialist if anybody wants his number. So I don't think I'll ever will give it up, because one, I enjoy it too much. Two, I'm pumping revenue into the company as well.
Do you think you could ever give up on the?
I've done it. Didn't like it.
Yeah,
because that's the hardest bit. Like you have to be able to step back if you ever want to. Like, because what's his face? Who's the plumber? The famous plumber, Pimlico.
PB.
Pimlico.
Oh, don't get me started.
Charlie Mullins.
You ain't had him on here earlier.
You're not. He is Marmite. People either hate him or love him. But
for his views on COVID, I'm not going to go into it all. But
to be fair to him, the one thing that he admitted was, if I hadn't have stepped back off the tools, I never would have been able to grow the business to the time.
And I understand that. I understand that. But I don't think I'd want the headache that he's got. What's he got? 160 employees?
He's sold it now, 200 mil.
Oh, well, maybe I would want the headache then. Yeah. Listen, I'm trying to get my company worth $1 million now. How much are you selling for?
200 mil.
Sure, yeah.
So this is the thing. Is it's very very difficult to let that go. But I think if you had the structure in place, and you managed to get that in place, you potentially, you know, if you noticed that the money was still coming in and the business was still growing, and you could just jump on a job if it was needed because there was an emergency or somebody didn't roll into work. I think that's where you need to get it to, but it's so hard to. When you've been doing it all yourself, to change that mindset.
Step away from it. Because you're passionate. You're clearly passionate about what you do.
What's your favourite tile then?
What's my favourite
type of tile?
See, again, things change, don't they? So 15 years ago, a 600 by 600 tile was huge.
Massive.
It was huge. You go, geez, look at the size there. That's now an average size tile. So that's probably, I'd say that's the money maker, isn't it? The 600 by 600, you can
go-to,
get them
isn't it?
Yeah.
You go in someone's house, chuck
you learn a few quid on there.
You always hear people going, I've got Italian porcelain in my house. Do you know what I mean?
Going back to what we were saying about the coming through and stuff, I think with the tiling side of things, I always wanted to do something that was never covered. So like my dad was great at pipe fitting, but then floorboards would go over it and his work was gone. You know, you
want to be able to admire.
You're a plasterer and you're a nice wall, but then a painter comes in and your work's covered.
You come in and tile over it.
But with tiling, nothing covers it. And I always sort of secretly you know, I didn't know it at the time, but wanted that
you're the finisher.
The glory,
the glory boys, aren't they? But you're right, it is.
It's maximum satisfaction.
I'll get halfway through a bathroom and it doesn't come together until I've got a tiler in the weekend on one of my jobs. And I know full well I'll go Monday and the customer will go, oh, right, we're near enough done now.
Yeah.
But
as soon as people start seeing tiles on the wall, they start to sort of... The
pressure comes off.
Yeah, and they've normally got no money left.
That's like, you know, like somebody does one of the big rooms on the back.
Yeah.
And they have the kitchen one end, and then, you know, but when you put those tiles in, like that completely changes one of those.
It does, and probably because they've had months and months of like brick and plaster dust, and all of a sudden you're vacuuming the floor, you're priming it, you're putting the floor down, they're going, oh my God,
it's a finished product.
It's a finished product.
Flipped.
You
Instantly.
can see them getting excited.
Their mindset switches from that stressy customer that, you know, pushing you to, oh, it's coming together
relaxed.
now. Do this, step back, don't they?
Ease in.
Yeah. And I must say, that's one thing that I do enjoy, is that you're sort of just, you're changing their mindset straight away. You know, they've had months of builders and plasterers and bricklayers.
I can't wait till Reece's thing at the end. Have you got any words of wisdom? It's going to be all over it.
The other question as well is, indoor or outdoor, which you prefer?
Indoor. I hate outdoor. Yeah. Every single year I say to my lads, right, that's it, we're doing no more outdoor patios.
How's your ears, Jack?
No more outdoor patios next year. And then the next year, a big one will come in. One more, lads, one more.
They do look good, though.
But they do look good, but I mean, we had like a...
I just love, you know, like when you go over a drain and like how neat it looks and just...
Yeah.
You know, because normally you see... No, but you normally see like the old drain manhole covers, and they look terrible. And then these guys come in and like, and you're like,
I know what you mean. They just fill me with anxiety outdoor, because we live in Britain. So it's like you got 3 days of 30-degree weather, and then it's thunderstorming for 3 days. And it's
you can't.
As you can clearly tell, we've got nice weather at the minute.
It's too hot.
Or you can't fit. You can't fit them. Yeah. So it's outdoor do look good, but there's just such a short window of time when you can do them. So the landscape gardeners will just do it onto hardcore, whereas we have a power floated like concrete screed for us to do it outdoors. So you've got like what?
Which one is better then? Which one would you say is better, or are they both as good as each other?
I'd say they're both as good as each other. From a longevity standpoint, I'd say putting a power floated solid cement screed down and then tiling onto that, I would say that probably would create a little bit more longevity than dot and dabbing them onto. But then you've got to pay for the screed, and you know it's whether people have got that in the budget. So, you know, like I said to you earlier about the company I showed you on Instagram, if they haven't got the budget to do the screed, I'll pass them on to Nathan, and you know vice versa. If he's got a customer that they're going to pay for the screed, he'll pass them on to us. So, but we're doing no more now. So no more outdoor patios. That's it. Yeah.
I'll bring him and go. Can you come and do my patio?
Carrera Marble.
Ashley Young? No, mate. No.
Don't want it. Don't be dealing with it.
So, ladies and gents, tradesmen and women, I am trying to help you organise yourself. So we have teamed up with Tradify, which is a software brand that if you are struggling to get organised, to look after your customers and to get everything ready for the jobs that you are going to need, then Tradify is an all-in-one solution. So we've teamed up with those guys. If you click this little link just up here, you get 50% off your first 3-month subscription, and you also can have a 14-day free trial. Let's get into
Scotty
too high.
Let's
Scotty too high.
Hear your story then.
That's a good one.
So where did it all begin?
It began, I guess, as a young child.
Let's not go too far. Young child.
Not straight out the bollock. But I mean, you know, about 5 in my grandparents' yard. They had a big barn and they got full of tools, and you could just dive in and just nail something to something and make absolutely nothing, but it was fun. So I guess from a young age it just sort of was embedded in me. And then you get older and you get through school and you sort of get into that age where you've got to sort of knuckle down and start picking something.
You've got to become an adult.
Yeah.
What do you want to be when you're older? No idea.
Tell me, look what I've made in Grandad's shed.
It was great. I had like a burning desire in the back, and it was always woodwork. And it was either that or rugby, to be fair.
Yeah.
Got to the age of 16, some letters from colleges and saying, come and play rugby here.
What position? Because we had Chris.
What do you think? I'll let you guess first.
Well, I thought Chris would have been a hooker, looking at him.
I know, I said the same thing to him.
And he was like,
insulted.
And he was like, I'm a fullback. I was like,
Same thing.
Because normally everybody's like, oh, well, hookers, you're just saying I'm short and fat. It's like, oh,
I did the same thing.
Stereotyping
What
at its
position?
finest.
Gotta know, I'll wait. You guess.
centre.
Close. Fly off.
Fly off. I was a fly off.
was sailing that ship.
Don't hit me in the face. I'm too beautiful.
Not the teeth.
That explains the
the Danny Cipriani. Don't hit me in the face.
Yeah, so 16, it was rugby or some form of trade, and it was either going to be rugby, then fail at an older age, and ease back into something trade-wise. It was always going to be trade in the long run. But I made a wise. I had a bit of an older head on my young shoulders at the time, watching my grandparents run businesses, watching my dad do jump from one trade to another, and sort of grasp it and take it on for the rest of his sort of days. Still doing it now. Oil heating engineer, by the way.
That's another one.
It's there.
We're all there.
Yeah, didn't like it. Horrible.
Very similar background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All got it.
Smell of oil. The smell of oil.
Does stink.
Oh, it's vile.
I love
Yeah, it
this.
wasn't for
Everyone's
me.
looking at plumbing tonight. Like,
Yeah, so got to the age of I think it was 15, and there was some sort of, when you're thick, you were in some sort of class. You got to go to college for 1 day a week, and it was like a multi-skills thing. You do a bit of bricklaying, mess around with a few cables, build a wall out of sand and mortar, and then make a table. And I was sort of loving the table thing. So I went from that thinking I was a pro carpenter at that point at 15.
Varnished the lot.
Oh yeah, awful.
Mahogany.
With a roller.
Mahogany.
Yeah, I brought it home for dad. Here we go, dad is a
I
coffee
bet
table.
it's still somewhere in the parents or the grandparents. It's got to be
Yeah.
somewhere knocking around.
I'm going to
You can't
ask
throw
dad
that away.
actually. I will
Scott
ask
made
him.
that when he was 12.
That's precious. Yeah, so I've gone home and we started looking down these sort of careers route of what's what, and I started to then do a bit of research, and I liked the sort of cabinetry side of things. Really ambitious at that young age. So my dad's looked on the internet, and we found like an event at the Cheltenham Ladies College. Went there, and these were all students that had made these tables. It was like a poker table, sort of hexagon shape, with all different words merged into it, of £20 notes and poker pieces in it. I was thinking, I don't know if I can do this. That's insane.
Yeah.
How, it's like glass. How have they done this? Like in a corner unit with glass just sort of merged into wood and stuff. I was like, this is insane. How do I even get on this?
What,
And then
you was thinking, I can't do this?
Yeah, I just thought I bottled at that point. I can't do this. Let's set the sights a little lower so it looks at joinery.
Go back to rugby.
Yeah, back to rugby.
I set my sights a little bit lower. Plumbing. Plumbing it is.
Yeah, Dad.
Pete.
No, so yeah, so I was 15 at the time. Like I say, I was being a bit ambitious, a bit out there. Back to school, back to 1 day a week at college, and the college lecturer at the time, he managed to get me a little 1 day a week job. So I pulled myself away from the college, and I got 1 day a week in this bench joinery shop. It was all right, but I learned within the 6-7 weeks that I was there, I couldn't stand being in the same place. Just that there and back. I just thought, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So then it was carpentry out on the road. So that was something I looked into as soon as we left school. Left school with minimal GCSEs, so didn't have enough to actually.
I think most people in the trades are very similar, aren't they?
Yeah.
Either good with your hands,
Massively.
sport, and that's
the
it.
only GCSE I really landed was
Glad you said sport.
seeing
That was
sports.
like not like I was sporty, so I wasn't really academic.
Yeah.
I just loved playing football. That was.
I just love earning money. I think that was just the. As soon as you see the colour of a pound note, you just sort of
I think
changes.
I
It just
think
drives you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I've got so many friends that I left school with that actually went into trades, and then kids went to uni, and those
Yeah.
people that went into trades, actually the kids that went to uni, were like, oh, look at those kids that got into trades.
Yeah.
And actually now they're all driving nice cars,
Yeah.
living in or built their own houses, and
Mm-hmm.
those ones that went to uni just got student debt and nothing to show for it. So it's all right.
But always think they're
Top
Yeah.
tier.
Yeah.
living at home with mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I forgot where I was at.
So you went from, you said can't be stuck in the same place. At the
Can't be
same
stuck in the
time.
same place. So yeah, left school, decided wasn't going to do the rugby route, and nailed into, wrote all these letters out to carpentry firms around the area, failed miserably. So took on a full-time carpentry course. So got into that, absolutely nailed it, loved it. The lecturer sort of lapping me up with my sort of, just sort of my attitude towards it all, and he was that impressed. He played rugby with a carpenter who was looking for an apprentice. Straight in, boom, got that. I was
Oh,
on
your
the
lecturer put you onto it?
Put me straight onto him. Say this kid ain't messing about.
Yeah.
Like he's serious. So got in with him. Started the apprenticeship the year later. I finished that about a year and a bit. the full 2 years, just straight through. Bosh. Shameless bosh. Straight through.
Never going to get that out of my head now. Fucking right,
cheers, so straight out in the big wide world at that point, went straight to my boss. I'm after a pay rise now, I'm out of college. He was like, you're having a laugh, ain't you? No chance. Probably lasted about 3-4 weeks, and I thought, nah, let's look about.
What, after the pay rise conversation?
Yeah. I was like,
you know,
just a bit, just something.
You're going on with this, that.
Maybe I was a bit arrogant, I don't know.
When you're younger, I honestly think you think you're worth more than you are.
I have a lot of them with us. But
if somebody's been with you a year, 2 years, and they're on it every day, you know, they're there early or whatever, and the work's good, and you don't have to watch them, just pay them the money. So much easier to do that than to find somebody else.
I do a lot of that.
Because they will go.
Yeah.
They'll get headhunted and picked up and gone.
Yeah, so I think I was 18 at this point and fishing about. And I landed, there was a subcontractor who, he was a contractor, and he was just taking on absolutely anybody who could do chipping, to be honest. So I put my notice in, bombed over to him within a few days, probably didn't even work my notice, I can't even remember. Probably hated me for it.
Just went.
I did, yeah, it was bad. God. Anyway, went into him straight on big sites, working with a big gang of chippies.
First fixing, second fixing?
A lot, yeah, everything. Yeah, money went doubled.
Do you want a price or just a wage?
A mix, with a mix of everything. 18 years old, setting up my own little self-employed, felt like a business, but it is.
That's the thing as well. Once you got a taste of that, where your wages doubled, there's no way you want to go back, is there?
No.
Yeah, 2007 that must have been. Yeah, that was 2007. So set up on my own 2007, went in with them subbing, and then my sort of private work sort of merged in. So I was working a Saturday, Sunday, evenings, and then I'd say, oh, can I have Friday off? I'm doing this, and it just sort of merged and transferred.
Well, that's one thing as well now, that when you try and stress to people that are young, that are trying to get into the trades, you've just said Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
If you were to say that to most younger people, I'd say maybe 1 out of 10 would listen to that advice. The rest would be like, it's Friday, that's it.
I want to do it, or they don't.
And I'm in the pub.
But that goes back to, we were saying about coming off the tools. So I work Saturdays, I work Sundays, and my excuse to my lads are always, well, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in on Saturday, I'm in tomorrow, and I'll be in on Sunday. So
when it's your own business, you have to, clearing out the van.
But I'll
clear the van out, because then I'll show you how it's
done.
done.
But you sort of set the bar, don't you? So if I was sat on the beach somewhere expecting everybody to work Saturday and Sunday, it would never happen. But when you're in and I can see you, the gaffer's in, and he's sweeping around and he's fixing tiles and he's making the tea, then it sort of sets that bar to everybody else.
I think you can still do it where you don't, but you turn up and maybe you can see the lads are grafted, you bring them a Mackey's breakfast and you sweep up so they don't have to do it, you still chip in.
It's just that thank you, isn't it, for
it's not completely distancing yourself from it, is it? You've still got to be you've got to spin loads of plates, you've still got to be one of the lads, but you're running the business at the same time. So it's,
Anyway, sorry Scott, because I keep jumping in.
How very rude.
It's not like you, Al.
So you're 18.
18, yeah. Back on sites, and I've merged in sort of my private work with that, and I just ended up just pulling away. And any little sort of blank space that I've had, I'd have rang him back. I've got a day available or such and such. Then I sort of entered into just sort of a lot of kitchen fitting. And then I started to Ren were looking for fitters, basically. So at the time, I had a friend, and I rang him and said, look, I've got this opportunity to fit kitchens with Ren on a regular. Going to need some help. Do you want to team? Should we trial one together and then see how we get on? He's like, yeah, all right then. It went quite smoothly. Got to the point where we were about a year or so in, probably 8 kitchens open live at the same time. It was nuts. Couldn't cope. Ultimately ended up backing away from that contract, but we were together. We had this business up and running. We delved into sort of building work, loft conversions, things like that. We had about 9 blokes on, so I was sort of off the tools, as we sort of touched base with earlier.
What, just overseeing them?
Just overseeing, you had no choice. Yeah. The 40 phone calls a day.
Yeah,
pop into the office, dealing with the accountant. It was just boring. It wasn't why I started.
I haven't signed up for this.
My 15-year-old self at that college did not see that coming. I was like, no, this isn't.
The anxiety it brings.
Oh my God.
Did that run off with you? and got to that point
It
before
ran
you
away
sort
with
of
me.
knew it and went, shit.
You do it without even realising.
You do. And it wasn't where I wanted to go. It wasn't the vision that I had. And we just ended up there, and it just happened.
And you just stepped back and went.
Yeah, and I think he felt the same because he wanted out of the company. Fine, signed him out. There was reasons for this later on, but he wanted out because he was in charge of finances and things like that. He absolutely nailed me to the wall. I had to fold the company.
Right.
Lost my marbles, and here we are now. That was last week.
And how long did you work with him?
Wasn't last week.
And that was yesterday.
Yesterday.
And how long had you been working with him then?
Well, I've known him since we were kids. We actually worked our apprenticeships together with the same guy. Got on like a house on fire. Do you know when you work with someone, you don't have to talk.
Yeah.
You just know what's next. Is this? I'll pass you that. I'll cut that. Fit this.
Yeah.
It was a great working relationship. But as we got bigger, our heads were just turned into jelly.
Our stories seem very similar.
They are,
I've had somebody. My business before Solihull was exactly that. You almost become like best friends, brothers. You share your lives together.
It's a working marriage.
Work-wise.
Yeah.
And ours just ended. You know.
You still friends?
No. Well,
No worse.
unfortunately, it's just.
Money,
I think
money,
when you
money,
mix business
money
and
is money,
friendship,
yeah.
you don't realise it at the time, but you look back and you think, if I'd have known I was going to lose that,
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have gone down that route that I went down. But it happens. But I'm a believer in you have to go through those things to then go.
Makes you a
I'm
better
not going to go
person,
down that route again
Push you
now.
to the place you are now.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
100%. It makes you stronger. It makes you go, do you know what?
100%.
I know the signs to look out for next time. I'm not going to, like you said, get sucked into having all these guys come off the tools and not be in control of
interested
it.
in it.
Yeah.
It's just me, one other. It's our Dave over there. And that's how I like it. Nice and chilled. I'll camera them.
Dave, give us away.
So wave Dave. Yeah, so So it's just me and our Dave now, and we've called it right back, and we've got Bros Carpentry and building.
What's your focus on now? Because you mentioned
just carpentry, back to grassroots.
Because you mentioned a few things like the kitchens and stuff like that.
Yeah, as long as I've done it in the college course, that's carpentry.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. So
what's your favourite thing to do?
It's probably the custom MDF work that we do. We're still evolving. We've only just got hands on a workshop.
You do
fitted stairs, spindles, roofing.
Because that's another thing. You mentioned
made
about
of wood. We do it.
Sort of styles.
Yeah.
Like before, it was like doing the staircase with the glass. The glass so you could see through it.
Yeah.
Now it's all the black spindles, like the aluminium sort of spindles.
But don't you think that like Pinterest and Instagram and social media has done that because somebody sees that and they go, well, I'm having it, and then before you know it,
I can't stand it because my missus will send me something and go, can I have this in the new house? And I'm thinking, how much money do you think I'm spending on this? Do you know what I mean?
The amount of times I get a job, and the woman will turn the camera, the phone, and go, I've seen this on Pinterest. I'm like,
do you remember years ago?
Panelling's the same though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Everyone's got
it's all
bloody
the
panelling
rage.
everywhere.
Do you remember years ago you get your hair cut and you go, I want it like that? That's what they do now, where they just go, see that bathroom, that's how I want it, and you go,
they do. And you like make it work.
Back then it wasn't show you the photo. You see this bowl? That's how your hair's going to look.
it was a magazine cut out,
Yeah, the images I get sent from Pinterest is ridiculous. Can do this?
It's when you say, what's your budget? And they go, about 400 quid. And you think, have you seen how much you...
Call this number. Yeah, not mine. Yeah, so probably custom work, quite well known for that in the area now, I'd say. So, yeah.
Do you do any work outside of the area that you're in?
We have done. Before we delved into social media, it was a no, couldn't be bothered.
You just got to use Derek Barrett's mantra. If it's 10 grand, I'll go there. Well, if they offer me 10 grand, then I'll go.
Anything on that.
Since we touched base with social media, we've been asked to go some distances.
Chris got asked to go to America to go and...
I saw that somewhere.
I've been asked to
He's
stay
in the pipeline for him, isn't he? He's on it.
We're doing a nightclub in Dubai in August. So we done the one in Birmingham for quite a big franchise. They're friends of ours, and they've just bought one in the Palm in Dubai. So we're going over. I think it's the last week of August to do that. So
just drop that one in.
You won't be back.
August though.
Oh no,
hot.
But you know what I was saying earlier about the lads having their
50 degree
haircut.
they're
having their haircut for the Love Island girls. Imagine what they're doing. They're like, am I coming to Dubai? I'm like,
no, you turn up, they've all got their teeth bleached and they're like that.
Looking smooth. Got shirts like mine over there.
But it's what you say about the outside work. everybody's got a price, haven't they? Like I've always said that. Everybody's got a, someone will say, I'll never work out of town. Well, what are you earning at home? I'm earning £1,000 a week. Well, I'll give you 10 grand to. Okay, then I'll go. Everybody's got a price.
Everyone's got a price. They will go. They will travel.
100%.
They will stay over. They will stay away from the family.
Because there's certain people as well, like Ollie with bare hands. Obviously, like the stuff he does, them tree houses.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he's not like here, there, and everywhere.
Hand-picking
you'd expect so, but he's kept his work to
cheddar mums. Cheddar mums.
Yeah, you can't go out of cheddar now, can you?
But the thing with social media, everybody sort of like has a big perception of it, but you can make it as big or as little as you want. We probably put 40% of the work we do goes on social media. Just 40% of it, because the rest of it, it's either.
Because the rest of it shit.
No, but you either don't get back to get the finished photos, or the customers don't want you to have the finished photos. People don't want you to. Or you just think, well, that don't really.
Did you get pictures of the pink bathroom?
Yeah. That's on there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Delete them.
Or you just think that don't really fit the mould of, you know.
Yeah, where I want to go with it. Someone might have a completely out the box.
But people have got a perception that everything that you do is all on social media. But it's like you've just got to play the game. You've got to know when to use it, when not to use it. Don't get too sick into it, you know. But like you say, you can be as nationwide or as small with it as you want it to be.
Because I mean, obviously with your work now, obviously you've got sponsorships with some different brands. Do you get brands like sending you stuff?
Yeah, so we're in talks at the minute with quite a big tiling company to be like a big brand ambassador for them. Yeah. So we're just having some back and forth emails at the moment.
Not ready to name drop then.
You are, sorry.
Not ready to name drop.
No, I'm not. I won't just
and
yet.
sign the contract.
Yeah.
He doesn't kiss and tell.
Nah, it's until it's signed.
So you can tell he's in celeb mode now.
We don't do that.
But it's all new to me. So they'll email me and say, "Well, what do you want?" And I'm like, "Well, what can I have? I haven't got a list of."
I felt like that. Yeah.
Just the demands.
What do you want? I'm like, this feels really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'll take everything.
Because they're playing the game. They know what you're going to give.
But they're steps ahead of us because we're just tradesmen going. Well, look, nobody ever before has asked saying, "Well, we give you this, and that's sort of."
I help you quite a bit. With
you did,
yeah.
Because the one thing is I'm that brand, so I sort of see it from the brand's perspective, but then I hate it as well because there's a lot of brands that just send products and they're like, I've sent you products and it's like, well, I can buy my own tools. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like you have to then sort of say, well, okay, you like the products and you checked them out, you've used them, you're ready to back them, then this is what we'll do from it. But a lot of brands are just like send products.
We get a lot of people send us stuff, and I always say, look, I haven't really got the time to film the content. Trying to run a business, you know, I will.
It's better if it's just seeing you. If you like it, it's just you think, then other tilers will see it and go, they'll DM you and say, what is it? That's more effective than.
And it's better for them as a business because you sort of, you know.
I'll only push things if I like it.
Exactly.
If I don't like it, I will not bother. I will not bother. It might be a nice gesture. Send me a pair of gloves.
You do see some though on social where they'll push.
Yeah,
and
push
you just go.
Yeah,
I won't name names and all that, but
you get the inboxes are just all day, not all day, but you get it 3 or 4 a week, just coming in.
Yeah,
and you're like, they'll go, I've seen your YouTube channel, this, that, and the other. You click on it, and I've had electrical stuff come through again. Clearly, haven't watched my plumbing channel because that's not even related to what I do.
Yeah. So maybe they just watched what you were doing with the pipe work and thought you were trying to do some electrical. That doesn't look like plumbing.
But I've gone into it and gone, I'm not sure. And like Al said, he helped me out with in the early days with stuff. I've gone, they want to give me this, and how do I go about it? Yeah. And that's where, even the business side,
even when people say, like monetary wise, what do you want? I've helped you with stuff like that.
It's uncomfortable when you don't know.
When you don't know, you think, and then you're going, no, they've got that in mind for it.
Yeah.
And that, building that rapport with Al with stuff like that, it helps you, and then you can pass that on to.
Because some of you guys will think, well, I can't say that price. Yeah. But actually, if you think about how long it takes you to do
say it.
A video, or how long to edit something, or if somebody wants you to put it in a YouTube video, well, actually, that's like a day's worth of work for you. So what's your day rate?
Yeah. See, my difficult thing as well. A lot of these conversations want to take place over email, and I'm not. I'm a face to face. I want to sit down and have a.
I'm not. I'm sliding in DMs.
That's
all I do.
I'm a voice note.
Yeah, I'm a
voice note.
Can't be
I'm a
bothered.
voice note.
Yeah, your voice note. Yeah.
Yeah,
Earlier
as you
on.
well know.
I'd rather drive 3 hours and sit down and have a chat with you about what the deal can be than do it over email, because I probably won't even get back to you on email. In fact, I don't think I've got back to the last one from what do I want.
You might be like, can you come round and put some of this marble in the house? And he'd be like, oh, it's him.
Yeah.
Just be a knock on your door. I ain't even emailing you back.
Mitre edges.
Yeah.
But no, if you don't know that social media,
world,
the way it goes, and it is, you've got to learn it. And
It is a
there's
learn.
not many. There's not many people. That's why I was grateful with Al. There's not many people that will share that knowledge.
Yeah.
It's like a little secret.
Yes, it is. You've got to work it out for yourself.
Brands definitely don't.
See, I've been lucky with a few of the clients. I've like you helped. I've leaned on a few of my clients and just said, like, you know, this is what do I do with this, because it's not my world and it's more
Your
yours.
clients will be like, that's a 10 grand Instagram post.
yeah. Oh, get out of bed for 50 grand. I'm like, I just want a few bags of adhesive.
But I mean, I get from a brand's perspective sometimes. It's like, well, we're giving you this, and this is what it costs us.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, that's what it costs you, but what does it cost somebody else?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have to think like, yeah, they're going to be grateful that you've sent them some stuff, but actually, you know, if they're going to show it off. And I, in the early days, before we paid anybody to do anything, I was always like, if you like it, show it off. If you don't, no worries, but I just love your channel. So that's how I went about it. I don't want anything back from you. I just wanted to send you products because I can love watching your videos. And most people are like, oh, okay. And then I just leave people. I never went, can you stick that in a video or anything like that? And then people just organically started to show stuff that we did.
Same.
And that people can see through it when you're trying to push something. You know,
Buy this uni like
today. They can see through it. Whereas if, like, with all my intros and whatnot are in the van with all the Unite stuff behind me, so you haven't got to push it. It's there.
You're a proper fanboy.
Love it, mate, love it.
I bleed yellow. So, as you know, myself and Pete, we always want to try and give back to the people that watch and listen to the show. So we've done you an absolute solid. We've got loads of discounts from top name brands all across the internet. So if you want to save some money on tools, software, tool bags, accessories, then go and check out our discount page, which is just located here. Hopefully there's a saving on there for you, and that's a little bit of a thank you from myself and Pete for supporting the channel. Let's go to like the Jerry Springer
final thoughts. Al's final thoughts.
So any advice, any knowledge, like if you want to do what Ry Davies did and shamelessly plug himself, then you can do that as well. But
what advice would you give yourself from 10 years ago?
Just keep going. Get your head down. Keep going. Don't worry about it. Just get it done. Move on. Make mistakes. Learn from them. There is no mistake that isn't valuable, because you can just continuously learn and evolve from that mistake.
I like that.
As a mistake is a positive thing, because you've learned from it. And if you don't, then give up, go home.
If you don't, then you're a melon.
You are quite a melon.
There's your soundbite, Jack. There's your soundbite.
There it is. Clip that up.
And you got to look direct to that camera and go, Bosh.
Bosh. You can have that.
Ry will be like, what happened on this episode?
His inbox will be flying. No, I like that.
Yeah, keep going, head down.
What about you then, Reece? It doesn't have to be advice. You can talk about future plans, whatever it is. Or
mirror exactly the same as that. I think me personally, I've like I said earlier, I've committed my whole life to tiling and now my business. And I think that as long as you get out what you put in, and I've put everything into it, and I get a lot out. So I think that any advice would be is that if you're going to get into business or the trade or the industry, just put your heart and soul into it. And I say to all my apprentices, you get out what you put in. If you want to work, if you want to come at 9 and you want to go at 3, that's great. That's fine.
But you won't ever progress.
But if you want to come in at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you're there at 6, 6:30, you come in Saturdays, you work late nights, you will get out what you put in. And as long as you stay true to it, you work hard.
I mean, one thing I want to stress to people that are watching and listening, especially the younger people just getting into trades, like, just give them sort of an idea, because you say you work Saturday, Sundays. How many hours do you think you do?
A week?
Yeah. 80, 90,
yeah. That with the office on top, probably because more.
I think a lot of people, the first thing is,
but that's from.
I'm scared to get into a trade.
Yeah.
And then once they're in, some of them will go, God, I didn't realise it was this intensive, or I didn't realise I've got to work this amount of hours.
It can be overwhelming if you're young.
And especially some, you know, obviously some companies will really extort apprentices because they'll make them work like 16-hour day or like 12-hour days. Yeah, they're getting an apprentice wage. Yeah, so that puts them off.
Yeah.
But you know,
see, I always do a 2-week or a month trial because I always say to them, "Come and see how we operate as a business. We're not at home at 3 o'clock every day."
Do you have many that flake it after a day?
Yeah, I have a few.
But you'd rather that, wouldn't you? You would rather, because if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah.
But
and
you will wean out the ones that go, I'm up for this.
And if it is for
I'm going
you,
to get you to go and do
if it is for you, we'll give you the platform, we'll give you the opportunity, we'll give you the financial backing. All you've got to do is work hard, and we'll steer you in the right direction.
You can't make people turn up, can you?
No. Yeah, we let the last one go.
Nave says that.
To be fair to all of these, I can't knock them.
Yeah,
can't knock them. They work from home a bit, but.
So if I said to you, where do you want your company to be in 5 years' time? Where would you want to be?
The King of Essex.
I want teeth like that. I think sustainability. So we've got a really good reputation. We've got, I think, what's going to be a long-standing reputation, and I think just maintaining that. Keep a good group of lads around us. Keep the work ethic high. Keep the standards high. Yeah. And like you say, in 10 years' time, the social media might not be here. So just take all that stuff as it comes. Take it with a pinch of salt. Don't get too invested in it. Don't get too upset with it. I think as long as the work is consistent, I don't think you'll go wrong. I think I think it's one of the most honest jobs that you can do. I think going home after a hard 10, 11-hour day, I just don't think there's anything better than knowing that you've done an honest hard day's work.
Loves it. What about you, Scott? 5 years, where do you want to be?
On a yacht, getting massaged.
I want to have sold Solihull for £200 million, like Plumico, it was called.
Yeah, Charlie Mully.
I don't know about 5 years, but it's a bit longer than that. I'm trying to set this up for hopefully my boys to take over. In total, I've got 5 sons. So I'm trying to set that up, and hopefully they want it. If they don't, then, well, Dave can have it. But
he don't want it.
Dad's got 8 sons. Then one of them's are going to have it.
Yeah, so that's where the names come from, because my boys are obviously brothers. So hopefully they can come in and play different roles. So that's the end goal, and then I'm hoping they can just sort of like look after me. So going from a big company where we had like not insane amount of money, that sounds really bad, but handled more money, more problems. Biggie said it right. Yeah, it's not for me. I'd rather cut it back. I reckon we probably earn more company profit now than we did back then. So culling it back, keeping it simple, enjoying what we're doing, which is so important, because if I went home miserable like I used to be, I'd just knock it on the head and go and get a job as Asda.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Nice one.
I've enjoyed it.
If you like listening to Al talk over all the guests, if you've enjoyed this episode of Trade Legends, listening to Al talk over everybody else and people banging on the desk, if you've enjoyed listening to him watching today, you fucking gonna just stay still, one space just for a minute.
If you've enjoyed watching this, blah 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 blah. Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
So I'll just not do it.
Go.
Yeah, you sure? I'm gonna shut up for just like a minute. If you've enjoyed listening and watching today's Trade Legends podcast, please subscribe to our channel. It will really help us out. We're a new podcast. We want to do big things, and you subscribing, hitting the little bell so you get notifications would be just great. Thank you.
Hitting the little bell? I was like, yeah, ding, 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 ding.
There is a little bell in there.